We have a massive Habs update as Martin St. Louis said Kaiden Primeau will be going on waivers as Dobes is called up and will make his NHL debut against the Florida Panthers Saturday. This has big implications not only for the Habs goaltending situation, but for the waiver situation and Laval moving forward. We have to dive into all of that, plus a nice update on Patrik Laine at practice today. And finally, Jesse, we got to talk about Ivan Demidov himself putting on an absolute clinic. There is a bunch of great stuff to get into coming up in this episode of Habs Digest. But before we get into the video, haven't asked this in a little while, but Jesse, we're going to go for a like goal today. Last time I asked you for 600, we smashed 800. So you know what? Today we're asking for 800 likes. We got some crazy news today. I know a lot of you have opinions on this Dobes Primeau situation. So if you want to help us out, you appreciate the content we make, leaving a like would mean the world to us. Jesse, let's dive into this. And the first thing I want to talk about is our boy, Ivan Demidov, as he put up 1 goal, 2 assists for 3 points today, playing on the first line for a lot of the game, 19 minutes time on ice. He's now got goals in 4 straight games. He is on absolute fire. I'm seeing people talk about him as the best player not in North America right now. And don't forget, he's still under 20 years old. The amount of stuff that has been happening with Demidov over this past little while, really since the Kent Hughes visit, has been unbelievable to witness.
So many things, more power play time.
Yeah.
We're seeing he had his most time on ice. This 1856, Josh. Like, this is just absolutely unreal. Like, you know, SKA fans, they're going wild over Demidov. He's absolutely just dominating the KHL right now, right? And like, Roman Rottenberg, he's making his final pleas, like, you know, Demidov, stay next year, please. We need you on this team, because they just see what this guy could do. Like, Josh, like on that clip, like that creativity, he's looking to go like, but between his legs, like just that creativity kind of prolonged the play, a la Lane Hudson a little bit, right? Yeah. Like, but just like how he gets into position, like Ivan Demidov, I know it's not just like he is all business in the offensive zone. Even as you see earlier in this possession, like he's stick on the ice, he's just waiting for that one time, and then he kind of gets in on the puck, kind of continues it, and he's just Johnny on the spot, like ready to go again, showcasing that shot that we've just been raving about these last couple of days right now. Like he is just absolutely going off. He's getting a little bit more of that ice time. And then he's showing Roman, like, this is what I can do when you give me this time. I can help this team win. Playing against Volokin today, who also, low-key, had a good game as well. But we're talking about Demidov, who absolutely just is just unreal right now.
Man, you know what? If Russia was playing in the World Juniors, we get to see Demidov and Volokin. I mean, this guy's proven the nickname Demigod every single day. It's unbelievable. Maybe Roman Rottenberg went to him and said, Ivan, you know, you haven't been scoring many goals. I talked to you about scoring goals. Maybe now that's why I've been scoring goals. It worked for his strength, apparently. So yeah, there's a bunch. Yeah, exactly. I think it's all on Roman. So anyway, guys, we had to talk about Demidov because this guy is doing some insane things. Wish we could see him at the World Juniors. Understand why they can't play, but keep an eye out on Demidov. My gosh, watch his highlights yourself. It is crazy. Leave your thoughts on him down below, but we got some other stuff to talk about here today, Jesse. We got some big updates out of Habs practice, and yes, we will get to the goalie situation in just a minute, but I wanted to update you guys on Patrik Laine first. As per Eric Engels, Patrik Laine was a full participant in practice as expected. We all expected this. We hoped for this. He traveled with the team, and he ended up being a full participant. This is great. And we're looking at the lines. I know you see something in net. If you haven't heard the goalie news, well, we said at the top of the show, you see it there again. But looking at the pairings, defense, Jesse, is not really changing. The forwards are also not changing, and I think that's an absolutely great sign. Seeing Laine still slotted in there, even though the little medical symbols there, that will come off before the game tomorrow, I'm sure. Man, how much of a relief is it to know that he's good to go? And it sure seems like that Columbus game was just a precaution after how they were targeting his shoulder.
It's honestly such a relief, you know, because we thought that, you know, just kind of erring on the side of caution and said, okay, was he maybe going to come back that last game against Columbus, right? But we didn't know for sure. And just given, you know, his injury history, all the same, like that's the last thing that Montreal we need. He comes off a big knee injury, and then this amazing start where we just get so used to him playing well and just kind of getting used to that life of having Patrik Laine on the team, just lighting up the lamp, only to have us ripped away. Not this time for the Habs fans. It's just amazing to see. We are, you know, Lady Luck is on our side with this one, because the Montreal Canadiens, they're just a different team with Patrik Laine in the lineup. They can hang with any team in the NHL with Patrik Laine. That's the effect that he's had on this team. That's the effect that he's had on this power play. There's goal-scoring ability. So happy to see him back in the lineup right now.
Yeah, it's really a shame we didn't get a full Patrik Laine game, because I'm sure he would have scored on the power play again. Maybe Montreal wins that game if he plays the whole time. Exactly, right? Like, yeah. I think he's just made such a, like, the gravity that he brings on the ice. It's starting to come together 5v5 as well, Jesse. Of course, he had a 5v5 goal that actually hit the inside of the post already this year. So if he can be the driving force of that line, if he can really really develop that chemistry with Dach and Newhook. I think that'll be nice 5-on-5 for all those three guys, but just to see him back and healthy is all we could ask for. A great weekend trip here, hoping that he can put on a nice show for us fans. But Jesse, the big thing today, the big talk coming out of practice, kind of took us off guard. I mean, we've been talking about this for seemingly weeks now, as Cayden Primeau has just not lived up to expectations this season. He has straight up been one of the worst goalies in the NHL by a lot of metrics, which is unfortunate to say because he had a really strong year last year. But as of today, it started with this. It started with Eric Engels tweeting out that Dobes and Montembeault hit the ice here with goalie coach Eric Raymond. Primeau isn't here, and we had heard that Dobes was called up earlier in the day. And then it was Eric Engels that came out and said that Martin St. Louis says Cayden Primeau goes to waivers tomorrow. Jakob Dobes makes his NHL debut versus the Panthers. And I gotta say, I'm a little surprised Primeau was waived in all this because they have the roster space to hold on to him, hold on to that 3-goalie rotation. But it seems like that fear of him getting claimed, either that's gone or they've just concluded this experiment, Jesse. I mean, it's caught me off guard. .836 save percentage with a 4.7 GAA. He's been a good AHL goalie with a .909 save percentage across 3 seasons, really 4 seasons in the A, with a roughly 2.5 GAA if you average it all out. The dude is not bad in the AHL. He can't make a click in the NHL. What do you make of this? I mean, I was a bit surprised. Are you?
This is really big news, but again, trust Kent Hughes to effectively use this holiday break to really reset this team in one of the ways that it really needs the most help, and that's in goaltending right here. He knew how big of a change it was, so he needed to time this change very strategically here. And what this kind of signifies for me, Josh, along with like the Justin Barron trade, is the Habs aren't afraid to kind of move on from some younger players. If they kind of give them some runway, they're still not quite fitting that vision, that they're going to give themselves the best possible chance to ice the team that's going to help them win games. And I, for one, am just completely there. Like, I'm all there for development, but there's a lot to be said about kind of breeding that winning culture in this NHL where there's so much parity. We know you got to give yourself all the chances you can because we know those other teams aren't, right? So this is a huge move right now. We know Jakob Dobes has done so many things right to get to this position, not just this year, of having that 9-10 save percentage. We look even to last year, playing very well. We know he's a big boy in that net as well. So he's done a lot. And now to finally get his opportunity at the NHL level, like, this is absolutely big on him. We've been kind of sleeping on him a little bit, Josh, but he's been playing really well in the AHL. He comes in the preseason, plays phenomenally for 2 games. Now, we know this isn't the regular season, but he's done everything that he can within his power to really position himself in a place to really succeed right now with the Montreal Canadiens. This is absolutely huge, but we know something needed to be done. Unfortunately, we wanted to work with Primeau. It's not over with Primeau. Hopefully he can maybe get something figured out, but right now, Kent Hughes is going with Dobes.
It's really interesting to watch, and I think you made a great point about like not being afraid to move on from young players, because it's a bit of a dilemma that naturally goes with that, right? It's like, man, I don't know. You give a young guy a long leash, and but how do you decide who to keep with your young guys? Maybe giving them a longer leash than normal versus moving on from them as you try to establish a winning culture. It's one of the hardest things to do with a rebuilding team. At what moment is the right moment? But I think they're making the right choice here. We're starting to see Montreal come together. They're winning more games. They're not winning every game, but they're starting to see those results. They're starting to see Laine have an effect. Hudson coming into his own, and they're seeing some guys just lagging behind while other guys are developing. Moving on from guys, it's part of the process, like you said, Jesse. And right now, it just is that part of the process for Cayden Primeau. The numbers are not there. He might not get claimed, right? His stats have been abysmal this season, though his cap hit is really not that high. There might be a team willing to take a chance on him. But the problem is, too, if a team wants to claim him on waivers, he'd have to stay in the NHL. And if that team wants to send him to the AHL, he'd have to clear again, where Montreal could go claim him. And it could be one of these cycles like we saw with Edmonton earlier this year. A lot of other teams doing that, right? Where Montreal could end up claiming him back. Who knows? But if he clears waivers and he goes out of the AHL, I think this is a great chance for Dobes. And Jesse, before we clue up this video, I just wanted to say, like, what a great opportunity for Dobes here. Not only is he playing the first game of a back-to-back, which is very important because you don't want to give him the tired team on the second night of a back-to-back. But his first NHL start is against the defending Stanley Cup champions. There is no better prove-yourself situation than this right here.
Absolutely. And this is the NHL, right? Where it's like, for sure it's the defending champs, but there's going to be no easy games. If you do, then that's going to be the game that kind of gets you, right? So he's done a lot to really get to this moment here, but he's shown a lot of composure, even, playing against NHL games, in the preseason here. He's shown that he can definitely win games with Laval, having that 9-3-1 record there. So, you know what? Like, he doesn't care, Jakub Dobes, who he's playing, tomorrow afternoon. He's going out there for the dub.
Yeah, it's going to be unreal to see. Leafs fans already know his name from that preseason showing. So hopefully the rest of the NHL are going to have to know his name. I got Leafs fans already telling me, like, oh man, Dobes is definitely going to put up generational numbers, isn't he? And I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to watch the Habs with Jakub Dobes. I'm not happy necessarily that we're potentially losing Cayden Primeau from the organization, because he's done nothing wrong. He's had some bad performances on the ice, like, for sure, right? But like, on a personal level, I hope he finds somewhere with success, whether that's in Laval, still within the Habs organization, or somewhere else. Don't want to wish bad on anyone, right? He hasn't performed for the Habs this year. He got a spot taken. It is what it is. But let us know your thoughts down below on this whole situation. Are you excited for Dobes? Are you excited to see where Primeau lands? Let us know everything down below. But thank you for watching this episode of Habs Digest. If you enjoyed, leave a like. That's all I'm asking. Trying to hit 800. We've done it before, and I know you guys can help us do it again. I'm Josh Gosse, my co-host, Jesse Poirier. We'll catch you in the next one.